Well, we back, y'all. I just wanted to show y'all, what area that I come from and that I grew up in. And that's where it was, 123rd and Lakeview, Chesterfield. Just riding through showing y'all the side of town that I come from. So, one for that, one for them. Basically, my story started, like I told y'all in the car, my mother was 16 and my father was 16 when they had me. My mother was adopted, my father, going through what he was going through. So the time was going on, we was living over there, we was living in the attic or whatever. Like I said, my mother was a foster child, so it was other people in the house when I was first born. But then, my mother and my father got married. When they was 19, we went to Colorado. They broke up, came back. You know how the story go. When you're young, it's hard to make it. But anyway, they get back to Cleveland, they separate. And the last vision I had of my father was, I was about 5 years old, and he was on the porch. He said, "I'll be back," and he never came back. So I grew up all that time not knowing my father. And like I said, with my mother being adopted, I didn't know the other side of my family. So the only blood that I knew coming up was my mother. It was just me and her. It was just me and her, going through everything, struggling together, everything. But then, years went by, when she met my sister's father. And that's when things started to really turn, really turn for the worse. He was on crack, setting our house up on Chesterfield as a dope house, beating my mother. And it was hard. It was a hard life to go through, and not knowing where any family was. Mind you, I'm young. They had my sister when I was like 8. So 8 and 9 years old, we bouncing back, going through his crack addiction and accepting the blame for what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? He was taking my mama through a lot of stuff, and I had to witness that growing up. So that forced me to be a man at a young age. I've been letting myself in the house since I was 8 years old. I really feel like I ain't, excuse me, I really feel like I ain't had no childhood. You know what I'm saying? Because watching your parent and the only family, imagine that. Imagine this for a second. The only blood that you know, imagine this, is your mother, and then 8 years later, your sister. It wasn't no cousins, uncles, aunties, nothing. Everybody I claimed until that point was like people we met along the way. So, to speed the story up, he was, he had our house set up, set up as a crack house or whatever. We going through a lot of things. He messing up money, all this and that, taking my mama through it, I'm going through it. He wasn't supportive at all, It wasn't the stepfather like, to throw the ball with you or nothing like that. I ain't had none of that growing up. No catching the ball or nothing. He was real on some other shit. And that shit affected me growing up. But anyway, eventually they broke up because she couldn't take no more. And that's, when it got real. He messed our house up on Chesterfield. The water pipes and stuff bust like this and that. And he still owed crackheads some money. Or whatever, this and that. He still owed people some money. And crackheads was breaking in our house while we up there sleep, because me, my sister, and my mother had nowhere to go. It's in the wintertime, it's cold outside. We sleeping in our coats, there's water dripping everywhere in the house. And all we hearing is boom, 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 boom. Them crack breaking in the house, boom, boom, boom. We just hear noise. And I remember my mama vividly saying, "If you come up here, I'ma F you up." We had my sister sleeping in the middle, my mama sleeping on the outside, I'm sleeping in the back. Mind, I'm only like 9, 10 years old. We had nowhere else to go. That was one of them, episodes I remember. And then I remember us walking down the street with our bags. We had nowhere else to go. We homeless at this point because he done messed our house up. So my Auntie Ronnie, her father, seen us walking. And he said, "No, you're not going to be living with them kids like that," talking to my mother. So, we stayed there for a minute. And, of course, when you're staying with somebody, your time worn out. So we bouncing from home to home, home to home. Now we done went to the other side of town, staying off 133rd, you know what I'm saying? Now we just bouncing around, nowhere to go. Just me, my mother, and my sister. So in this time, I'm absorbing all this anger, hurt, frustration with no outlet. Because all I had was my mother. I didn't know nobody else. And my auntie Wattie, that was really just my mama's childhood friend, and I love her to death because she looked out for us. So we stayed with one of her boyfriends. He was a drunk, some shit off of Harvard. Then we ended up staying into a house on Harvard, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, this time because she worked on the other side of town. So we stayed over there for a minute. Then eventually that's when we moved out to the suburbs. Now mind you, at this time, I'm 13 years old. I done been homeless. I done witnessed my mama get her head beat in, teeth knocked out, all this, you know what I'm saying? I'm not embarrassed about none of this because hopefully my story gonna inspire the next one. So when we get out to the area we was living at, I experienced a situation I hate. You know what I'm saying? When we moved that, I met a couple of cool dudes, you know what I'm saying? My dudes I'm still good with to this day. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the school system and all that, they laughing at you because of your clothes, not knowing we still sleeping on crates, cots, cooking off a hot plate. We got our cooler on the porch because now we done moved to the suburbs, the rent higher, so there ain't nothing but like $20 left with my mama after she paid the rent. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm going through this in a suburban area, and they laughing at my clothes. He ain't one of us. He ain't this, he ain't that. How you think I'm gonna grow up and feel about y'all? You feel what I'm saying? And everybody look at me like, oh, what this, and that. I mean, yeah, but understand that as a young man, you coming from harsh, homeless conditions to a suburban area where you seeing people driving the nicest cars, having the nicest clothes, and you still in your urban environment in your head, because ain't nothing changed at the house. The only thing that changed is the scenery outside. But you still going through it, wearing the same outfit for the first or second day of school, and they laughing at you. So, you know, that's what pushed me to the point of getting into these streets, because watching my mama go through this, I didn't want to be a burden on her, because she had my little sister to look out for. Now, by this time, I'm feeling like I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? So, that's when I got to getting into the streets, you know what I'm saying, rapping and hustling. But I just thank God that I was able to make it up out of that situation. And I'm still here to live to tell about it, to help inspire the next young man coming up in my situation. But think about me, I never forgot where I came from, because I was still catching the bus down to my hood, still kicking it with my dudes. You feel what I'm saying? That's the type of person I am. I'm loyal. I don't forget nothing. I'm not going to act like I didn't come from that area because we stand out here. And it wasn't about, oh yeah, now it's better, this, and that. Because to me, it wasn't better because I'm going through a whole nother struggle. A struggle of not being accepted. A struggle of people looking at you foreign because you got a rough edge around you. Your clothes ain't right, your money ain't tight. But you know, I bounced back from that. So, you know, it is what it is. Wattie just wanted to explain his 1 foot out, 1 foot in scenario. Oh, and on the update on the family side, on the lighter note, I finally met both sides of my family. I met my mother's side last June. And that was a beautiful experience, you know. And I met my father's side of the family this May. My sister found me on Facebook, and you know, we got it together after that. So I went 30 years without knowing my mama's side of the family, and I went 31 years not really knowing my father. I say about 25, because I really didn't know him, but I remember seeing his face when I was a kid. And there was a lot of bullshit in between time that I went through. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad that, you know, I was able to meet him. No grudges held, you know what I'm saying? They were young when they had me. And, you know, my mother come from a situation, you know what I'm saying, that was rough. No hard feelings on that either. You know what I'm saying? This Wattie, I love everybody, you know what I'm saying, in my family. And that's just how it is, you know. I just wanted to break down in a simpler form of 1 foot out, 1 foot in.
or cause my mama hide deep inside each and everything. I'm a mixture of both. You hear the pain in my quotes. I got a